All right, let's go ahead and get started. We've got most of the people here. We've got 425 people out of 500. I am Dr. Stefan. I'm your professor for this class, and welcome to Classics 162, Classical Mythology, and welcome to many of you to college and to your first. I don't know how many people is this, like your first college class. Maybe we can use one of these poll things here to figure it out. Let's see. All right, I'm throwing a poll through here. Yeah, basically, are you a freshman here at the U of A? That's pretty cool. You can see it in live time. All right, I'll give you 5 more seconds to answer. And all right, we got it. So about 2/3 of you are new here. How many people is this your very first college class ever? All right, so maybe about a quarter of you, something like that. I don't know about signing up for a class before 11 a.m. on a Monday. That seems very cruel. But I'm glad that you made it here, and I'm very excited to work with you guys. So let's go ahead. What I'd like you to do is talk a little bit about Zoom to begin with. All right. So what I'd like you to do is, instead of sharing my screen, I've always kind of found it, I don't know, I kind of zone out when people share their screen. So instead of doing that and just being like a little thumbnail in the corner, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and toggle the speaker and gallery view. Are you guys familiar with that? So if you go up into the upper right-hand corner, you'll see something that says either gallery view or speaker view. And what that's going to do is switch back and forth between kind of the person speaking taking up most of the screen, or seeing everybody that's in the class. And for the most part, because I'm going to be talking at the beginning here, you just need to focus on what's going on my screen. So if you put it in speaker view, and then go ahead and you can also pin that so that it doesn't switch out, you should be in good shape. All right. Right now, you guys are all muted. I will go ahead and unmute you later when we do some more interactive things. And again, that's just to make sure that, like, you know, sometimes when you get some background noise in these things, it ends up being really difficult to pay attention to like what I'm thinking about and trying to, like, I don't know, put together sentences. So I'll keep you on mute for right now. I promise I'll take you off when you can actually do things later on. In terms of chats, all right, so everything in the chat right now is going to me and the TAs for the course. And TAs, if you guys can hear me, feel free to throw out answers the best you can to any chats that are coming in, any questions that are going on. And again, once we get into more interactive stuff, I can open that up so that you guys can talk to each other later on in the course. And then finally, just to remind you, we are recording this so that I can post it later on onto D2L, and you guys can access this in an asynchronous manner if you have to miss a class for any reason. Okay, so Zoom, if there are any questions, go ahead, throw them in the chat. I'll give you like 10 seconds. All right, we're more or less good here. And the TAs will try to respond to you if you have anything specific coming through there. Okay, so welcome again to Classical Mythology. Today's class, Gods and Mortals. I, of course, am the god. You guys, of course, are the mortals. And today we are just going to do introductions, all right? One of the things that I do want to get out of this class is I want it to be more than just kind of me talking at you the whole time. I want to have it be something where in addition to you guys kind of picking up on some of the stories from classical mythology, you know, I want you guys to also kind of be producing some of that knowledge on your own. And in order to do that, you're going to be working in small groups. You'll be working in pairs, that sort of thing. And so today, you know, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'll have the TAs talk about themselves. And then I'm going to put you into little breakout groups. And so you can figure out who's in the class, talk a little bit about yourselves, and kind of get comfortable with people who are in the classroom, all right? So first things first, what we've got going on, we're going to start with introductions. Again, I will tell you a little bit about myself, then the TAs will talk. We'll talk a little bit about how the course will work. We're going to save the majority of that for next time. So basically Wednesday is going to be our main syllabus day. We're not even going to touch the syllabus today. But I will give you a little bit of homework in terms of what I'd like you to do in preparation for Wednesday. So next up, all right, introductions. So we saw, what was it, about 2/3 of you guys. This is your first year here at the U of A. I'd love to welcome you guys. One of the super weird things when you come to college is it can be difficult to kind of like figure out what to call your instructors and your teacher. And as a result, like whenever I teach this course, I always get a lot of emails that just kind of say like, hey, or like, hey, Stefan, or like, and you know, I think people are very, very good-hearted here. But it's weird, right? Like most of the instructors you're gonna have here have spent many, many long years getting a PhD. And as a result, right, I don't take things too seriously, right? Things aren't too serious in here, but I did spend a long, long time getting my PhD. So some options of how to address your professor here. You can call me Dr. Stefan, Professor Stefan, Dr. S. If you're a little less formal, just Dr. Rob, you know, I don't think, you know, it's all good. Professor S, Dr. Robert P. Stefan, Professor Rob. If you want to go with the more formal German, Herr Dr. Professor Stefan, that works just fine. Any of those are fine. But when you're in, you know, kind of either talking to the professor, and this kind of goes for any of your classes, or you're talking, you know, writing an email or something, just say like, hey, Dr. Stefan, hey, Dr. Rob. I'll respond to any of those things. But there you go. Yeah. Good looking guy. Anyway, let's move on. This is year number 5 here for me at the U of A. So I feel like I finally, like, I don't know, kind of sort of know what's going on, except now we're in COVID times, so nobody has any idea what's going on, but we will persevere and we will make it through. Yeah, I'm in the Department of Classics. It's a weird sounding department. What we do is we study the ancient Greek and Roman world. And so if you like this course, feel free to get in touch with me and we can talk about some other courses that you might enjoy along the way. So it's year number 5 for me here. Prior to this, I came from this place. Anybody know where this is? I guess you guys can't chat to everyone right now. We'll see who the first person is who can guess this place. Kylie. Kylie, you got it. It is Stanford. And Miko and Morgan and, oh, yeah, all right. A lot of you people got it. So yeah, this is where I spent my 7 long years. And, you know, I guess I shouldn't make it sound that bad. Stanford was awesome and it is beautiful. It's super expensive though. So I don't know. Tucson's better, I think. Actually, when I came here, I was thinking like, you know, it's kind of weird going from like a place as big as the Bay Area to like Tucson, which seemed a lot smaller, and I was kind of worried it'd feel small. And I don't know, like very honestly, I love it here. Tucson is like everything I'd hoped for. It is nicer when you can actually like go out and do things. But anyway, if down the road anybody wants to chat about Stanford or graduate school there or anything like that, always feel free to shoot me an email. We can chat about that, what life was like there. If you're interested down the road, especially in something like classics going on in that, I'm more than happy to talk with you about, you know, some of the people I know there and ways to maybe make that sort of thing happen. Okay, so I've been here at the U of A for 5 years. I was at Stanford for 7 years. I was actually there for like 10 years. I taught there for a couple years afterwards before coming here. And then before that, I was at this place. Anybody know where this is? Let's see if we got anybody in the chat here. This one's less identifiable, right, from the initial picture. Hogwarts? No, not Hogwarts, not Northwestern. Duke, no. Notre Dame, oh, I hate Notre Dame. Princeton, no, not Chicago. It's kind of close to Chicago. It is. Madeline, you win. It is the University of Michigan. And so mainly what I would be doing in the fall is spending my Saturday mornings watching Michigan football, and then spending my Saturday afternoons or nights going over to Arizona I don't know if you can see my seats are like up here. But because of the crazy world in which we live, I will be doing neither of those things this fall because it just so happens that the two conferences I care about both had their football seasons canceled. So I don't know if anybody has any good ideas of things to do on the weekend in Tucson. Shoot me an email. Normally I'd be watching football, but I guess, I don't know. Life goes on. So let's see. I am by trade an archaeologist. So within classics, we study a lot of different things. So you can study language, you can study history, you can study philosophy, religion, all that sort of thing. My particular thing is archaeology, right? And I think everybody's kind of initial thought when it comes to archaeology is it's very much like Indiana Jones. And yes, we do kill lots of Nazis. That happens all the time. But actually what we end up doing for the most part is spending a lot of time in like little dirty holes in the ground in very hot places. But I don't know, I have like great memories of this sort of thing. And so this is something that I'm still engaged in research-wise. One of the things that we'll talk about as we go through, one of my kind of words of wisdom to everybody here, is that regardless of what you're doing, okay, whether you're in classics or you're in biochemistry or you're in psychology, find some way during your time here at the U of A to get involved in original research, okay? This is like one of the very, very, very cool things that, that you have the opportunity to take part in as being part of like such a large Research One university. And so kind of whatever your field of expertise in, talk to the advisor, talk to your professors, see what you guys can do in terms of actually getting involved, because it is just such a cool experience to, again, move from kind of consuming knowledge to actually producing the world's knowledge. And then also, whatever you guys go do from here, right? The fact that you've been involved in original research is something that's going to really set you apart from everybody else applying for jobs or grad school or whatever it is. Okay, so now of course in archaeology, right, I think everybody's like image is this is like what we do. We like go into those little holes and we like dig up golden burial masks and like bronze daggers and all these wonderful things. And of course it is nothing like that actually, right? What we end up doing for the most part is like dealing with pottery, right? So like a lot of like pottery sherds like this, and it's real like, I don't know, the pottery's ugly and kind of boring, and yeah, so much broken pottery. It's like all we do. One of the things I'm gonna have you talk about when we do our breakout groups, one of the things in archaeology is we call pottery like the archaeologist's best friend. And I want you guys to think about like why that's the case, right? Like why is it that archaeology or that pottery is so important? What are the kind of characteristics of pottery that make it so important to the archaeologist? So we'll talk a little bit about that as we move on here. Okay, now, if right now you guys are like sold on archaeology and you guys are interested in doing archaeology, which I very, very, very highly recommend, there are two rules that you have to abide by, all right? So the two rules of archaeology, the two rules that you can't forget. The first one is always go do archaeology in a place with awesome beaches, okay? I can't emphasize this enough. So this is the temple at the site of Sunion in southern Attica in Greece. Anybody know who this is a temple to, or maybe based on its location, kind of who you might guess which Greek god this is a temple to? We'll see if anybody gets it in the chat. Not Zeus, not Athena. It is Poseidon. First person was Taylor. Taylor, you got it. It is Poseidon, right? And so basically, it's the last thing you see as you're sailing away from Athens and you're going east across the Aegean Sea. The temple to Poseidon at Sunion is kind of like the last thing that you end up seeing there. So again, first rule of archaeology: choose a place with awesome beaches. Second rule of archaeology: choose a place with great wine. These, again, you know, Tucson's great for many reasons. The mountains are beautiful. The cactuses are amazing. It's a really fun place to be. The wine is like, yeah, I don't know. It's okay. It's not great. This is why you need to get involved in archaeology. What you're looking at here, this is actually a super cool thing. Anybody know what site this is? Maybe you can guess by kind of the ruins, by like what's in the background. Let's see here. It is Pompeii. Nice job, Anna. Yeah, so you got Mount Vesuvius in the background, right? The top of it blew off. And then this is one of the houses that they've excavated. And one of the cool kind of things that they've done there is basically when you're digging it up, you get these like little seeds. And if you put the soil into water, right, the kind of dirt floats to the bottom. And anything light like seeds or plant remains kind of floats to the top. And you can figure out exactly what was planted in the gardens at the houses of Pompeii, which is really, really cool. And at this house in particular, what they've done is go back and replant the garden with all the ancient plants that were in there. And so you can see some of the vines that were there now. But it just so happens, right, that like the places you go do archaeology, when you're focusing on ancient Greece or ancient Rome, tend to be very good for all of these things because they border the Mediterranean, so they have very good beaches and they have very good wine. If down the road, who knows whether this is going to be running again this year or not, if you're interested in getting involved in any of these things, we do run a couple programs. So we run study abroad programs both in Italy and in Greece, where you just kind of go all over the place, just hopping from archaeological site to archaeological site. And I'll talk more about that as the semester rolls on, but it's a really cool experience. The other thing is that I'm currently involved in an archaeological project known as the Bays of East Attica Regional Survey, also known as BEARS, great acronym, I know. And this thing takes place basically really close to that temple of Sunion that I showed you earlier on the southern tip of Attica. And it's out on an island. So we wake up, you like get your like, I don't know, spanakopita or whatever, and a coffee, and then you go get on a boat and you sail, well, not sail, but you like, you know, kind of move along out to the island. You climb up top here. There's this Roman statue that got dragged up to the island like a couple hundred years ago to basically use as like a kind of a lighthouse there. But what we're doing is surveying, which basically instead of excavation, what we end up doing is like walking all across the island and picking up stuff as we go. And you'd think there wouldn't be like very much. And it turns out there is like massive amounts of stuff on this little island. And so you can see some of the pottery that we were picking up there. And the really cool thing is like, so it's an island in this bay, and the only pottery that exists is from like periods of time where things, I don't know, like things were falling apart. So the end of the Bronze Age, you'll learn about what that is in a little bit, but basically it comes out of this time of prosperity, things turn to chaos, and right after things turn to chaos, everybody moves to this island. And then they like move away from the island later on. And then it goes on for another couple hundred years, maybe 1,000 years or so. And we get into the Roman period, and the Roman Empire takes over the whole Mediterranean. And then what ends up happening is when Rome falls apart and the security of the Roman Empire falls apart, everybody moves back to the island. And we've got tons of pottery from that period as well. So it's kind of like the idea is that when things are very uncertain, when the world is a little bit chaotic, people are retreating to this island as kind of a place of safety. So again, I'll talk to you a little bit more about the archaeological project as we go on. And you know, I'd love, if the project runs, we'll have to see how things go this year. But I'd love for you guys to maybe be involved in that. Okay, so I've told you a little bit about like kind of my background, myself as an archaeologist, what archaeologists do. Now you have to listen to my research, all right? This is the worst. It's gonna be super boring. I'm apologizing you to right now because of it. But this, right? I guess you guys can't really act up over Zoom because like, I don't know, I've muted you all. But anyway, if when we get back in person, you guys don't do your work or you guys feel like crazy in the classroom, I'm gonna tell you all about my research for like 45 minutes, and it's gonna bore you half to death, and you're gonna hate every second of it. So I'm just giving you a little preview now, but beware as we go on. Okay, so What I like to do is focus on the ancient economy. And just to back up for a second, this is another one of the really interesting kind of differences between high school and college. You know, high school, your teachers teach 100% of the time, right? Like that's what they do. Once you get to college, like one of the big differences with professors is that like, you know, teaching is like half of the job and then research is the other half of the job. And, um, and so, you know, things like that archaeological fieldwork and answering kind of questions about the ancient world, that's a big component of what I do in addition to teaching. And so the questions I'm interested in are basically like, I don't know, I like money, right? I want to know about money in the ancient world. And in particular, I'm interested in how kind of political structures affected people's monetary well-being, okay? So basically, with something like the Roman Empire, right? You've got, for the only time in history ever, this is one of the reasons Rome is really cool, like the only time ever before or after, you've got the entire Mediterranean in like under a single political power, right? Before Rome, that never happened. After the Roman Empire fragmented, it never got within a single power again. And so the question I'm interested in is basically like, was that good for people, right? And you can think of all kind of reasons why it might be, right? Like all of a sudden people can use the same currency. All of a sudden you can like trade, right? And send things from Egypt all the way to Italy. And you don't have to worry about like pirates taking all your stuff along the way. You know that like with a specific currency, you know that the money is going to be good. People are speaking similar languages in different parts of the empire. There are all kinds of reasons to think that like the Roman Empire as a whole would have benefited people. And yet research-wise, we don't really know whether that was the case or not. So my kind of question there, the way I started to approach that question was looking at housing. So what you're looking at here kind of on the left-hand side are two houses from Pompeii. And these are the atria or the atriums of the house where you walk in and you can kind of see what's going on. And what I started doing was basically doing a quantitative study of houses across a really long period of time. So looking at the size of the houses and the decoration of the houses and the number of rooms in the houses, all that sort of stuff to see how that changed as a result of the Roman Empire. And the reason we focus on houses is because like more or less everybody's got one, right? Like everybody lives somewhere. And so it gives you a good kind of sense for how things change for regular people over time. So anyway, that's one of my one of the research projects that I'm working on here. That was my dissertation that I spent like whatever, like 15 years working on in graduate school. And this is one of the, whenever you, if any of you guys do go get a PhD down the road, so one of the things is that you start out your dissertation and you're super excited and it's like a really interesting question. And like whatever it is, like 22 years later, whenever you finish it, you're just like, this question, I'm so over it. But anyway, I'm sure that won't happen to you. Okay, so what we got, that was one of the things that I was doing in graduate school. Since I've been here, I've started looking at industries and trying to build financial models for industries, right? So basically like, I don't know, in the modern world, if you were, you know, running a restaurant, like how do you build a financial model for that, right? Like what are all the costs involved with like getting some land and like buying equipment and paying people and acquiring food? And then like how many customers do you have and how much do you sell? And like how do you calculate your return on investment if you wanted to go buy something like that? So in the ancient world, I was trying to think like what's the, you know, what's like a good industry to model like that? And, you know, you want something that's relatively simple, that we have pretty good data for. And my solution to this was to look at brothels, right? The world's oldest profession. And so the thing is here, right, that like this was a fantastic industry to financially model because you know what you need, right? You need a building, you need people to basically, you know, interact with the clients. You need to support those people. You either need to pay them or you need to support them with food. And then the financials are fairly easy, right? What you need to know is you need to know like how many how many people are working there, how many interactions they have per day, what the cost is per interaction. And it turns out that like a site like Pompeii has tons of evidence for this, right? Like what you're looking at here on the left-hand side is these are images of the actual brothel at Pompeii. And so they've got lots of these little rooms. You can see the stone bed basically built into the rooms. You can see above each doorway, they've got these kind of erotic images, and people debate what was going on with that. They were like, they didn't know whether it was like a menu that you could like order from, or whether that's how they like referred, like told you which room to go to. But anyway, that's one of the things that I'm working on now. So I've moved on from running a brothel to looking at running a vineyard, right? So that's kind of one of the other research-based things that I'm interested in. Okay, so that is a little bit about me. We're about 30 minutes into this thing. What I'd like to do now is give the TAs a chance to talk a little bit about themselves. Right now, we got 4 TAs. We may add another. We may remove one. No, that's not a threat, TAs. Like, I'm sure it'll all be good, but there's just some fluctuation at the beginning of the course. But I'm going to go ahead and unmute you guys one by one here. Colin, would you mind starting and telling us a little bit about yourself? And what I'd like you to do is answer these 3 questions, right? So tell us where you did your undergrad, what your favorite food is to eat at 1 a.m. in the morning, and give us your best piece of advice for incoming freshmen. Colin, you got the stage.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Colin Omilanowski. I did my undergrad at the College of Worcester in Worcester, Ohio, a small liberal arts school of about 2,000 students. My favorite food to eat at 1 a.m. is fried mac and cheese bites. So good. And then my best advice is there are many ways to study abroad in college. You can do that through religious organizations, volunteer groups, even just a traditional study abroad, but find some way to get off campus. It's so rewarding, even if you're doing it for like a couple weeks.
All right, thank you, Colin. Next up, let me see if I can find Darcy here. All right, Darcy, you have got the floor.
Hey guys, it's wonderful to meet everybody. I'm really excited to be here at Arizona and to start meeting all of you. I did my undergrad in a little college in Michigan called Calvin College. It's actually Calvin University now. We just kind of upgraded, so that was kind of a cool experience to go through. But my favorite food to eat at 1 a.m., you can never go wrong with pizza. So that's where I'd be. And my best advice to all you guys, just keep a schedule for one. Make sure you're looking at it every day so you know what's going on and you know what you have coming up. And then just, you know, you're going to go through a lot of classes that you think to yourself, I have no interest in this and this is so boring and I never want to do it again. Just try and look for something that you can find that's interesting or worthwhile, or whatever you have to do to connect yourself with the class, and you'll do great.
All right, thank you, Darcy. Next up, we have got Matthew.
Hi, everybody. Matthew Hillen. You can call me Matt. I originally studied at Lewis and Clark College in Portland, but actually finished up here at U of A and got my undergrad degree in anthropology and a minor in classics. My favorite food at 1 a.m., when I lived in Portland, there was this small little restaurant that was open all night. And when I was working late on a paper, I would just go there with my laptop and eat a burger and work on a paper. It's like 2 in the morning, and I'm just like grinding. And best advice, I would say that, make sure that you talk to people if you're having like trouble, or like, just reach out to friends. College is awesome, but can also be really stressful. So make sure you reach out to your professors, your TAs. You can always email me if you need answers to questions or anything. And yeah, just try to, develop like a support base, and that really helps get through the whole process and have fun and try new things as well.
All right, thank you, Matthew. And last but certainly not least, we have got Julianne.
Hey, hello everyone. I am Julianne. I'm very excited. This class, I think it's gonna be awesome. Anyways, so I did my undergrad at St. Olaf College in Northfield, Minnesota. So I'm excited for the desert heat. My favorite food to eat at 1 in the morning, it kind of depends, honestly. If it's like I'm up late, like studying or working on something, then I'll probably be stress eating. So then it'll be chocolate. Like recently it's been peanut M&Ms, but it changes every couple weeks. But if I'm just like up chilling, like I know over the summer I became like practically nocturnal. I don't know if anyone else did. In that case, just be like a chill snack, like, I don't know, some pretzels, maybe some carrots. I don't know. As for my advice, I will say that Matt took what I was going to say. So yes, do reach out if you need help, and also make sure to take care of your mental health. I know everything is very stressful nowadays, especially if you're starting your undergrad or if you're continuing it with COVID and everything going on. Make sure that you do take a little bit of time for yourself. And planners are good. I love planners. Use planners. Yes.
All right, wonderful, Julianne. Thank you so much. I guess I already told you where I did my undergrad. Oh, well, so the slide that you're looking at here, the reason they have letters attached to their name, one of the things that's very, very necessary in a class of this size is like efficient communication. And students, I love you all and I want to communicate with you all, but it is like, you know, it's difficult to deal with like 85 emails a day from the same class. So what I would ask you guys to do is shoot your TA an email first, right? And you can find your TA on the slide here. So basically, if your last name depending on your last name, that's the breakdown in terms of who your TA will be, all right? So if your last name begins with A through F, Colin's gonna be your TA. Shoot him an email. And we'll make sure you can find on the D2L website what their emails are and a copy of this slide. Okay, but on to the important stuff. Yeah, my undergrad was at Michigan. It was wonderful. I like have the fondest memories of my time as an undergrad. And I very much hope, right, like regardless of how much you hate this class, like that you walk away from your University of Arizona experience 4 years from now feeling similarly, right? That like it was just like undergrad was an amazing experience for one reason or another. My favorite food at 1 a.m. is undoubtedly nachos. I am always on the hunt for the best nachos in Tucson. If you guys have any suggestions, like shoot me an email and let me know. We will talk about it in class. I will give you reviews of nachos instead of lecturing. We will do all these things. It's very, very important. Best advice for incoming freshmen. I don't know, probably like break up with your girlfriend or boyfriend from undergrad or from high school. It's just, yeah, it's going to be very difficult. You know, you're going to be meeting new people and just explore new options, people. All right. So words of wisdom from Dr. Rob. Let's move on. Okay. So part 3, introductions. I want you guys to talk a little bit amongst yourselves. Okay. So again, as we move on with the course, there's going to be a fair amount of group work. First in kind of breakout rooms on Zoom. As we move in person later in the semester, we'll be doing it a little bit live. But you know, that kind of thing goes much more smoothly when you feel comfortable with the people you're working with. So I'm going to put you guys into breakout rooms of like 4 or 5 people right now. What I want you to do is just talk a little bit about, talk about the summer, talk about COVID. What's your favorite thing about COVID? I like, getting to wear basketball shorts to work. It's great, just wear a nice shirt and you're all set. What's the worst thing? Okay, this summer I was supposed to get married in Italy. I was supposed to go do archaeological fieldwork in Greece, and then I was supposed to run a study abroad program in Italy. And I did none of those things. I was stuck in I've never been in Tucson for the summer. Tucson in the summer is terrible. It's so hot here. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so that was probably the worst thing. But there's some things to talk about with the people in your group. I am going to try to do this. Let's see. All right, let's see how many breakout rooms we can actually make here. Okay, it looks like we can make 50 breakout rooms. So you're gonna have 9 or 10 people in a room. Talk amongst yourselves for a while, I'll unmute you. Me and the TAs, we're gonna pop into a few just to say hi and see how the conversation's going. And then we'll meet back here about 11:45 to wrap things up, right?
Everybody, holy shit.
Hey, what's up?
Everybody.
Oh,
Oh my god.
is that
What's busy? What's happening? Hey, you guys, I don't think anybody can hear what anybody is saying right now.
Oh,
Right now.
Should probably go one.
Agree with. I also like.
Way too many breakout
room. This is not a breakout room. This is every
This is a breakout room.
Entire class. Breaking out a conversation, so that's something, right?
entire class.
Probably.
Hey guys.
Gabby, Anthony, how you doing?
Yeah.
$1,000
for
fucking
and even put us into a breakout class.
Doing Emma.
Is also a thing that exists.
This is a lot.
500 people are going on.
This is too much.
Yeah. Like this. My name is. Hear a joke.
Have breakout rooms started yet? Oh, breakout rooms. Feedback.
I don't know what the fuck's going on, bro. This is bad.
I don't think we're in a breakout room. I'm pretty
We're
sure
in a
it's like
breakout
all
room.
500 times not introducing ourselves.
Definitely all 400
Class at the same time.
Robert. Doctor.
To unmute all our mics.
On Hannah, say hi.
What's the best?
brain moment.
The best thing about COVID.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
They're working just fine.
They are not.
Oh my
Big nope.
Anybody got the fake?
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, guys, somebody should say something in the group chat. Tell them that they're not working. Someone should tell them that they're not working.
There we go. Now I can actually talk. You guys can hear me? We're good? We're good. Yeah, don't know why those weren't working. It's COVID times. Flexibility is the name of the game. I'll try to figure it out. We'll chat more about that next time. Okay, so basic logistics for the class here. Right now, we are meeting totally online. Okay, so for the next couple weeks at least through Labor Day, we're going to be online. After that, we're going to kind of see what the university does, and we're going to adjust accordingly. And I'll be interested to see kind of what you guys think of the online thing as we go. Basically, once the university opens things back up for a class of this size, what we'll end up doing is I'm going to basically put together a Qualtrics poll for you guys. You guys will vote. If we get 2/3 of the people saying we want to stay online, we'll do that. If it's anything less than that, then we'll move to the in-person thing. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Textbooks, don't worry about buying anything right now. I'm going to provide all the readings for you guys for free via PDF. You guys spend enough money on this stuff as it is. The readings will be posted online on D2L. That's the course management software. We'll talk a lot more about it on Wednesday. A couple things. You definitely, obviously, you guys we're online right now, so you need something to get online with, like a phone or like a computer or something along those lines. So you got to have that to be able to kind of function in the class. And then you do have to come to class too, right? If and when we get these breakout rooms working, there actually will be a fair amount of interactive components to the course. And those are meant to be fun, but it's also meant to be a time for you to really engage and kind of build your skills. So I want you to be here kind of live when we're doing it, regardless of whether that's online or in person. What the class is all about, right? This is the mythology of ancient Greece and Rome. We are going to talk more about this next time as we dig into the syllabus. The way it's going to work, we're going to start out by talking about origin stories, both for Greece and in the world more broadly. And then from there, what we'll do is we'll dig into kind of classical Greek mythology, talk about the Olympian gods, talk about the Greek heroes, and then we'll move in towards the end of the semester with ancient Rome and talk a little bit about how Roman mythology works. And traditionally, the way we kind of think about it, right, is Roman religion, Roman mythology is kind of this knockoff of Greek mythology. And kind of sort of to some extent that's the case, but kind of sort of it's not. So we're going to dig into that as we move forward. Yeah, that's the kind of 15-second overview of what the course is going to be about. All right, for next time, what I'd like you guys to do is go ahead and I want you to log on to D2L, okay? That's the course management software. There's a lot of course intro materials. It's gonna take you through basically how this is gonna work at the beginning with all the kind of different COVID restrictions and stuff like that. You can read through the entire syllabus. You can see what type of work is gonna be expected of you. We're gonna talk about that in depth in our next class on Wednesday. You know, it'll give you a sense for kind of how the class will work, the kind of cadence and flow of the class, and what you guys need to do to succeed in the class. Okay, so that is it for right now. What I would like you guys to do is if you have any questions, right, start by emailing your TA. They can kind of funnel those things to me if I need to chime in on some of that. If it's about nachos, obviously skip the TAs and just email me immediately about the important stuff like that. But I really look forward to working with everybody this semester. I'm sorry the breakout room thing didn't work. I'll figure that out and we'll do it again next time or something. And I will see you guys back here, same link, same password, same place, same time on Wednesday. And I hope you guys enjoy your first few days of classes and I will see you then, all right? All right. See you guys.